What else did you sell? Like it was your office.
Yeah, you go to bed. Both of y'all. Brush your teeth, go to bed.
Let's come down with you.
Peace, peace.
Yo,
What up with you, bro?
what's up?
Chilling.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how many people gonna come on with us, but you know, we just gonna go at it.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Purpose. Turn my to the side. Maybe I can see it, but
You on your phone or your laptop?
on my phone.
Okay. You sound better.
Yeah, I'm on my 11.
We're tired.
You upstairs with Umi?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
let you.
forgot about that. I was just reading the Purpose joint.
Hold on, B. What's up with you, bro? Hey, well, me and B we on the live about to get into purpose and how it fits in with our lives and responsibilities. Trying to see if you want to get down. All right. Yeah, it's just me and you. Tommy might get in.
That's what's up. I'm about to shoot the link to Leon.
Yeah.
See what he doing. Have him at least try to watch on if he don't want to get in, so he can kind of get an idea of how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, bro? Just shot you the link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can check us out. Me and Falah on right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My baby's from work, so you have to give me a second.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got friction too, right?
Yeah,
Sweet.
I can bring it all up whenever we're ready.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't get a chance to write purpose down. And it's cool because I forgot about the second part there.
The verb.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. That's cool.
All
Yeah,
right,
because
we can go ahead and get it going then, and it's just me and you. We good.
yeah, it all ties in. So jumping it off. Purpose. Why do we have these talks, bro? Refine the mind, bring about a different level of enlightenment from which we already did some swimming. We're trying to go a little bit deeper, right?
Yep.
And in doing so, it's bringing us back to the origin of everything, like the original model, like henceforth our purpose and how it ties into just about everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I would say the core of purpose is looking at like how in tune are you with your will and how it plays a role in everything, like from the gestation of birth, like what the blood does according to the will when you first pushed out of the womb, right?
Right.
So we know your will takes on like its first part of its purpose, right? Which
Yeah.
is, I guess we could say, the verb part, because its objective is to remove all the blood from the parents, right?
With the history of the parents,
Yeah. So its will
so
can
you
be
can
made manifest, right?
right. You can build a new um, purpose because your family already, the ones before you lived the purpose already. Now you gotta add to the blood. Yeah, you're right.
So I think in looking back at that, we've tend to lose our way. Like we just think we so top of the chain, we so it. Like we don't even have to trip off staying in tune with what our true purpose is from a noun or from a verb perspective. Would you agree?
Say that again.
We've lost touch with our purpose from a noun and a verb perspective.
Right, our actions don't match. Yeah, you're right. Yep, we don't have
Yeah.
the actions. We don't move with intent.
And I'm saying that's part of us thinking we so it. We the top of the chain. We, you know, that ego. Like I think that's kind of the segue to how we lost our footing, so to speak. That's being vague with it, but you know, the gist is we're off kilter. We're not moving in the capacity in which we should when it comes to what our purpose is.
All right. Yeah, I agree because like when like I like to look up the different words, the synonyms that kind of help me to have a better understanding of what that means, like as far as the verb goes. And you can see it on the screen where it's intent, means, aim,
Yeah.
plan, design, have the
Yeah.
intentions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All these things mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had talked about earlier, where these letters form words, and these words come with meanings. Like just
Yeah.
purpose has that's a scent. Those are a lot of words that go into that word purpose. So that's a spell in itself. Just to have a purpose is a spell in itself. It has some intent. It has something to do with something. And um, a lot of us are not determined. We don't have a direction that we want to go. Um, you can tell that by the way we move. So that also makes me wonder who is determining our purpose. What is determining our purpose? You know what I mean? Because if you're
Yeah.
not going to do it, I believe that your purpose can be monetized. You know, yeah. If you don't want to do it, somebody can take control of that purpose and do it for you.
Yeah. If you're not tapping into
Excuse me.
your what motivates you, like your job, so to speak, if you don't get up and go to work, right?
Yeah.
How that's gonna affect things. So looking at that, that's like you said, that's one way to look at how it's monetized.
No.
Because
You're
what
on the
is
show.
that to make you get up and move?
If you can, I'm doing the show right now. Yeah.
And it's a word for that. If you know, it's like in the first introduction into the philosophy podium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as we build, we'll get more into that philosophy podium because that's heavy right there.
Yeah, see, like going back to what you just said, right? Knowing your purpose. If you don't know, like the vehicle, our bodies are a vehicle. If you don't know what allowed the vehicle to turn into what it is, how could you live the purpose of what your body is? I mean, how can you live your purpose when you don't even know how your body operates? And I'm using that to say, in the philosophy podium, we had learned that we had more senses than the five senses. If you can remember, we
Yeah.
learned about Waj and genius, your sense of genius, and how can I channel my sense of genius to um, to better myself and use that for my purpose, or how can I use my watch to help me better myself? And then see, we learned those things, and it gave us a better purpose. You know, to learn more about yourself, you can access the environment more when you know more about yourself. You know.
True indeed. Knowing about the systems of the body. That's
Right.
a whole field right there. But it all ties in though. If you know how the systems of the body work, then you can begin to optimize, everything. Your hearing, your seeing, taste,
Mm-hmm.
your intuition, your money sense. Like you said, you got more than five senses.
Yeah.
So
Your sense
yeah.
of wealth. You know what I mean? That's a sense most of us don't understand. Your sense of wealth, and that don't necessarily mean money. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's, you have more to draw up on. Like, how do you pass that wealth to the next generation, and what is the wealth that you're passing? You
Yeah,
know,
what yeah.
and so one of those ways I can look into is with our blood. If you spent a lifetime mastering certain mental, spiritual aspects, that's going in the blood. That's so you're giving your child a wealth of information just to access from their blood alone. You know, so that was one of the things that I looked at. I can look at. So now, what does that do to a child's purpose when they're born? Do they have the purpose of living through um, the the toxic energy you put in your blood, and then their purpose becomes to live through that and clean it? Or if it's clean, then their purpose is to add to it at a greater, you know, capacity. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a boy or a girl, you know, because we know the boys, they carry and protect the blood, but the girls, they're the destiny, you know.
Right.
So, uh, so I would say, you know, asking a question because I'm not sure. Um, should a woman focus on purpose or she focus on the destiny? Because of women, they drive the destiny of humanity. Mm, You know, men are we the blood, we protect the blood, but women they drive the destiny of humanity. So I don't know if it's good for a woman to focus on. I mean, you can say her purpose is that to focus on the destiny of humanity because we build certain things. They design it and take it where it should go or to another level. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, and knowing that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say help sustain
Hmm.
and add on to, but then once again, it's like, what is that model like? Like, we got to get that back in place.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then I think because part of that is we need them to be submissive, right? But they're not
Right.
going to be submissive to someone who's not walking upright, who's not in tune with what they need to be in tune with as far as their purpose, how their will plays a role, and how they fit into the equation. So
Right.
that's going to leave you out in the cold every time, wondering why and what's going on. So
Right.
again, we going all the way back to how our purpose ties into what our will did from the beginning,
Right.
right? But if you
Right.
lose sight of what your will is calling for, then of course your purpose is going to be unclear. So now, what's your responsibility like with your purpose? So
Mhm.
all of that's out of whack. So we got to get the reverberations right. So that's like taking us back to what we were saying with the friction. Like if you against something, why are you against it?
Mm. Mhm.
Understand what that push is about. So
Mhm.
is that a bloodline thing? Because it could be a bloodline thing. You could just think, oh, I just don't like that. But why do you have such a distaste for it? What led to that distastement? So that's
Right.
like taking it back to our educator's educator. It all ties in. So now we got to do the due diligence and go back and look at, okay, what is my blood like? What is the different curses I have to fight if they haven't been fought already, correct if they haven't been corrected, right? And as we
Right.
doing that, I think it'll bring back, a little bit clearer what the purpose is and how our responsibility ties into maintaining that purpose.
Right.
So yes, it's a walk, but the first part is what? Education, learning how we're under such spells, right? From the different words that we use, the vocabularies that we have, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Breaking
Mhm.
those down so we can begin to transcend and evolve. Like you said, becoming a thinking man's thinker. What does that look like? What is it to be a thinker? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? How can we push that, even the thinking man, to a next level of thinking? What does that look like? Right?
Mhm.
So to
Mhm.
me, that's going all the way back to looking at how the human body, ties into everything. You see the cosmos through us. You see nature through us on all levels, from the macro to the micro. Okay,
That's
but
right.
can we have a conversation about that?
Right.
Most of us really can't have a conversation about that. So that's where our due diligence starts.
Mhm.
Tuning
Mhm.
in, learning how we fit in. I didn't mean to cut you off if I was, but I was saying tuning in, learning how we fit back into, the grand scheme of it all. You know what I mean?
Mhm. No, you didn't cut me off. I'm just letting you build because I wanted to, keep it on the whole level of how we're dealing with responsibility. And we dealt with our purpose. Now we're dealing with responsibility. And so we can see that responsibility is the state or fact of having a duty to deal with something or have control over someone. Uh, Next would be state or fact of being accountable or to blame for something.
Yeah.
We are not accountable for our seed.
Mm-hmm.
And that seed is what makes the babies. So we're not accountable for the individuals in this community because we're not accountable for the seed itself. And then you have the opportunity or ability to act independently and make decisions without authority.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main one. Like we lack the responsibility because we are being told how to think,
Yeah.
what to think. And so once you're in that state of being controlled through your thoughts, once you whoever controls your mind controls your body. They control
Mm-hmm.
what we eat, how we get the food we eat, the whole community that we're dealing with. Like they control. When I say they, is those who are in the position to see that we're not controlling ourselves and monetize us as a human resource.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. So we lack the responsibility to handle all those things. Who's doing it for us? It's big
Mm-hmm.
business out here doing it. They make a lot of money to do that, to be responsible for us. That's why they call us minors. Majority is to me is another word for minor. Minority, I'm sorry, minority is another word for minor, not majority, but minority. And so
Mm-hmm.
if we're not living our purpose and we're not taking responsibility for the physical, let's say you said the micro and the macro, right? So the micro, if we're not taking responsibility for every cell in our body, which houses our ancestors,
Yeah.
someone is taking responsibility of the body and controlling the direction of our ancestors' future, which is us, you know. And so without us knowing that, like on the cellular level, there are certain chemicals that took place in order for you to drop your sac or keep it and turn it into ovaries. There's a chemical process that took place. And when that process took place, the decision to be what you are is not made once you're born. It's made at the moment that you decide to develop those parts. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
You develop those parts, you've made that decision internally. Um, and so like even understanding that science, like now when it comes to dealing with the way we as men throw our life force to the wind, that is the true gold, liquid gold, if you want to call it, because whoever controls that liquid, that substance, can have a control over human resources. I'm calling it human resources because that person is not a thinking man or woman. They're a human that is considered a resource. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to go into that before we go too deep into friction, because friction now takes on a different uh, denotation. Not the connotation of something that just rubbed together and caused friction. There's deeper meanings, and I'm gonna look that word up too while we sitting here talking. That way we
Yeah.
we can go ahead and build even more on that.
Yeah, because that friction, man, is something. There's always some friction going on. Something's rubbing up against something.
Okay, so we're gonna go look at the etymology of that too, because I think that's where a lot of the you can go ahead and build on that, bro.
So friction, yeah. So like initially we tend to think or we don't tend to think much about it. I think that's a good way to start. We don't really pay much mind to what friction is. And it's always some friction going on when you begin to look at it and think about it. But then, one way that we tend to look at friction is like there's always the young versus the old, or here lately it's been man versus woman. You know what I mean? Used to be light skin versus dark skin, right? Always some sort of friction going on, right?
Right.
I wonder why. Like, you know, why do we
Mm-hmm.
always seem to have some sort of friction going? It's been going on for ages, right?
Right.
So as I kind of here the past few years kind of looked at friction, I guess I kind of come to appreciate it. Like, because when you think about it, they say steel sharpens steel, right?
Right.
So friction going on, like, but you know that friction is necessary to become something that you wasn't before, right?
Right.
Now look at it like young versus the old, you know. So it's like, man, we can't wait for him to move on or her to get on down the way, or it was always some type of gripe that we had to pick with the elders, right? But
Right.
makes you wonder why though, right? And so
Mhm.
as I begin to look at it, I begin to, like I said, have a appreciation for it because now I'm that elder. And I look back at these youngsters and I'm like, yeah, I got friction for y'all. Because, they out of line, they unruly, right? They're far from what they can and could be, right? So I got
Right.
a lot of friction for y'all. But then I'm still in a place of why friction though? Why come we can't, embrace and what I'm saying, start to gel instead of being friction, right?
Right.
And as I begin to look at it, and I begin to, like I said, have a different type of appreciation for friction. It's like we need that friction. You know what I'm saying? It's like a necessary characteristic, I want to kind of say in certain ways. Because once you learn how to rub up against certain things, you rub against it so many times, you become something different. And sometimes it's in a better place. Sometimes it's not, depending on your approach, you know, what your purpose is. We different things we've been sharing and trying to help everyone to see from a different light because a lot of us have a misconstrued way of looking at things, most
Right.
negative, so and man, just looking at it here lately, friction is like a beautiful thing. It's like growing a plant. What does the plant go through when it comes through the soil? It got to go through that friction of pushing through the dirt. You know what I mean? To bust
Yep.
out to get to that light. So it's like we need that friction. It's a
Right.
necessary component to becoming the better or going through the evolutionary process. You
Right.
need that friction.
Hmm. You know what? To add to that, you said something that I thought was interesting. That when you rub something enough, you become something new, right?
Right.
You become something new. And let's look at there's a um, there's a commandment from the 77 that says thou shalt not fornicate, and was wondering like what is fornication. Going to that, we'll go into that another day. But
Yeah.
I know that one of that is dealing with friction, the rubbing of the flesh. The
Hmm.
fleshes get together, they're rubbing, and they're causing that friction. And out of that friction, you become something new because it creates a sensation or a feeling that allows you to bring forth something new. You see what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
I kind of saw that like deep when you was like, yo, you become something new. That's right. Because if you get with a young lady and start that friction, it will bring forth life if it's at the right moment. And that's the same thing that we're talking about. You become something new, and you say you're having friction with people at your job. If you can maintain through that friction and keep your head, you're gonna learn a lesson and become something new on the other end. Versus
Hmm.
versus you get a little bit frustrated and you start to give up because you can't handle the heat. Because friction also means heat. You're gonna deal with friction. You're gonna deal with some type of heat. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Uh, and so. Um, Yeah, that's why I can understand. Another way for that is challenge. Challenges. Even though we're saying friction, you're someone that's challenged you is causing that friction of the minds to rub you the wrong way, make you feel a certain type of way, could take you off your square, keep you on your square. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so um, I see that the friction is needed in order to you don't get comfortable when there's friction.
Right.
You know what I mean? You challenge, you fight what's happening, and you keep it pushing. You don't get too comfortable. And a lot of the times we get comfortable with life, and there's no friction, and then we start to create these false sense of reality. And then when someone come along and challenges who you are, what you are, now you have to run from it because you're not strong enough. Friction also creates a thicker skin. You know what I mean? It creates a thicker skin. So
Tolerant.
tolerance, yeah. Yep. So I can understand why you would say that it needs to be there. Uh, because sometimes you, if you look at the etymology, it's also saying that it's a sense of clashing and lack of harmony. And sometimes you need a lack of harmony to show you that you need to harmonize. You know what I mean?
To see where the disharmony is.
Yeah, because if it was always, it's not things that life is not one sided. It's not one way. It's always an ebb and flow. It's dynamic. It's going through the different changes continuously. And if you can't handle the bad, you're not gonna be able to handle the good.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see that, and I see that we as men, we have to continuously sharpen each other with our still like wills and minds, constantly go through that friction, be in competition. Um, without that competition, we won't bring out our best and sharpest swords. You know what I mean? So part
Mm-hmm.
of our purpose is to live with that, um, and face the challenges, and that takes us to dealing with our women. Our
I
women
mean,
are masters of giving us that friction.
yeah.
And if you fall victim to it, then she'll look at you as weak. But if you stand tall to it, everybody benefits from you being that strong man because you become something different. You become a stronger man. You become something that says you can lean on me, even when you lose just your way, you can lean on me. You know what I'm saying?
Word. And
Yep.
then, like, even if you take it all the way back to the micro, the cell, when you had to be something because you beat out how many others to make it to that egg, to make it to that, to be
100,000 to a million. You
so
know,
you
and
gotta live
I look at it like you didn't beat them out. You led the way, and they chose to help you get there. You know,
it.
the strongest one, the
Will
quality of the strongest one, and the
and
will of the
you,
strongest one made it.
depending on your approach, but because we know approach is everything, you had the savvy, you had the will, you had the get up and go, whatever it was, you had
You had it, and you got there.
it.
Yes, sir.
If it
Yes, sir.
was
You know what though?
you had the watch, no one else had the watch. You knew where to be at the
You
right
know
time.
where to. You know what I'm talking about?
You had it.
Yep, yep. So that takes me also to um when we talk about giving birth, right? Um Now we know that women are the one who allow us to come into this world like we look with the bodies that we have. But the essence of
Yeah,
us,
the
the
first
essence,
factor.
right, the essence of us, if we understand how our body works, we placing something there to allow her to go through that creative, finish that the part of that creative process. So if we're going to take responsibility of our lives, and we take responsibility of ourselves on a micro level and a macro level. Well, we have to take responsibility of that semen, and before it comes out, and know the purpose of it, and realize that we are placing these children in there. So we have a responsibility and a purpose to see that that seed can grow and be nourishing, or be a protector of the lives to come. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of our brothers, we don't protect that seed. We throw it to the wind. As long as we throwing that to the wind, how can
Because we
we?
entered into the whole deal with no goals.
Yeah,
You
no
know what I mean?
intent, no purpose.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
purpose is out of place.
yeah. Well, the purpose we got is just to feel good for the moment.
Yeah, that's why I say it was out of place.
Yeah,
It was purpose that just wasn't the right purpose. The
right.
responsibility wasn't the right responsibility. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the work. Work always has to, you know, supersede the purpose, you know,
Yeah.
or else you won't see a reason for the work. It's like, yeah, that's another lesson from Napoleon.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
then
every day.
if she got you growing inside of her, pieces of you are also becoming a part of her. So if your purpose was just to get a feel good moment, that's she's it's going in her body. She'll be able to tell that's what you're doing to her. You're just giving her a feel good moment, and the intention of what's going to be born in her and growing in her is more like a parasite than it is something that she really is going to enhance her life. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Mm,
because what you put is toxic. If you
y'all
got
like, yeah.
yeah, y'all like, because if you got a toxic mind and toxic body, you're only going to release a toxic uh, life force, and that toxic life force is going to go into her, and she's going to now have to deal with that for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? And
Y'all,
brother can talk about all the pull-out game, whatever, but I think if you even if she's not ready to receive it for birth, her body receives it and synthesizes it and makes it a part of her. It's her way of she's basically feeding off of that life force. You know what I'm saying? Because we see our young girls that start early, they start to get their hips when they start having sex early. They start to get hips and get shapely and everything early, and they start to talk a certain way, mature in a certain way, but also, they get a certain level of mental illness because they can't grow past that, and that's because of who and what's doing something to them. It's not a
exactly.
balance. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
dealing with it on. Go ahead.
Mhm. I was just gonna say right along with what you're saying, that food that they're getting at the early age is making them develop early. Because, like you said, like from the other build, when they getting all that process done to whatever it is they're eating, the beef, the chicken, you know, the fish, is going right to our babies. And you look at your child when she's 12 and 13, and you're like, God damn, I got to get the shotgun out early.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's going on here, right?
Yeah, and then you introduce adult activity. Now she's going to develop even more, but
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be a quick you know, it's like boom, you before you even had a chance to really develop fully and reach
Yeah,
a certain level, it's like boom, now you're going on the down, and same thing with young boys, so
yeah,
that's taking responsibility of your purpose and your sexually, you know what I'm saying, and
right.
your integrity, your personal integrity. Now integrity comes into play of who and when you're going to do something, why you're doing it, what's the purpose of you doing it, do you have to do it, you know what I'm saying, you're going to do the right thing, or what's the right thing based on the science, it says that I should do this. So now you have something to guide you, so like we always say, we need a perfect model. The perfect model is nature itself. Somebody always asks me, what makes you think that you got the perfect model? I don't have the perfect model. I follow the perfect model, and that's nature. Like nature designed our bodies to be perfect for whatever we need in the environment we need, even if we know what it can do or not. And so
Mm-hmm.
it made us into a night and day, or a man and woman, a yin and a yang. It made it for a reason. Whether you choose to go with the purpose of it or not, it made it for a reason. You know. So then I notice when we're not living in our purpose, we suffer more. Our karma, because nature's gonna talk back to you. You shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to be eating that food. Your stomach could give you a queasy feeling to let you know, I don't like that food. You keep forcing it down, and then you start to wonder why you got stomach issues and intestinal issues. And nature talks to you. So um, I'm saying that because I've been having issues where I would know I shouldn't be eating. I'll get, late night, I'll eat a bunch of food and then wake up feeling miserable. Well, my stomach told me before I even ate that food, I'm about to touch you up real quick. Give me a first certain little queasy feeling. I go eat past it anyway. I can eat it.
Right.
And I'm suffering. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what
So, with that,
I was saying, thinking that's what you want, and your body telling you that ain't what you want, fam.
Yeah, that ain't their purpose to be sitting here scoffing down all this food right now. You know, so what what is it that's fueling our purpose now? Is that's another thing because we're educated into these ways of being.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like thinking we supposed to put fire to our food. Like, not all food is supposed to have fire to it. So
Hmm.
that's another thing, micro to the micro. What are you doing to yourself on the micro level when you eat food that's had fire to it? So the molecular structure changes. So now what are you digesting? Like, what are
Hmm.
you doing to yourself now? You know what I mean? So depending on your blood type and things of that nature, you could be throwing yourself, under the bus, so to speak. You know?
Right.
So all of these things are things that we don't got away from, far removed from our everyday. We don't even think about that. We put fire practically to everything.
Yep.
And could be overcooking it. You know what I mean? Cooking out all the goodness, but thinking the longer we cook it, the better it's gonna be. And that could be totally, you know.
Living things heal living things.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I can see that like when I eat a salad out of my garden, it feels way better internally than it does when I eat processed food
Hmm.
or I eat
Yeah.
yeah, I eat like food from the store. It tastes different than the food out of my garden. You know, I had a guy in the shop. He was saying that, he said, yeah, when you have your own personal garden, it tastes different. And he didn't tell me why, but I deduced that when you're dealing with food on a massive level, you want to ensure the crop grows. So you may introduce certain chemicals on that micro level to increase the flow or increase increase the profit. You know what I'm saying? And so that's gonna
Maintain yield.
yeah, it's gonna come out. The taste it's gonna affect the taste some. Now, if you never had homegrown veggies or meat that's been like grown in like meat that's been eating live, veggies and stuff like that, you won't know the difference. You just like go back to what we were saying the other day. You'll just throw a bunch of seasoning and herbs on it to give it a certain flavor. Oh, excuse me. But if you know what it tastes like, a lot of that meat don't need a lot of flavoring. A little salt, a little pepper, you can throw. And if you did throw a few herbs on there and out your garden, you don't need a lot. They so intense that you know. So yeah, that's what we noticed in growing out like growing in our backyard. I got broccoli growing. Broccoli actually has a sweet taste, and most people don't know that. So it has a
I
sweet taste.
eat broccoli right out the deal, wash it off, cut it up, and take it right to the neck.
Yeah, right out. Yeah, we imagine eating it from the garden. It got that. You get whatever your the health of your backyard is that you'll taste it in your food.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, but that's understanding the micro, and then how does that micro work? Like you said, with the micro of your body, it's live food that you're ingesting. So whatever properties that, like, say for instance, if you composting your food and you're like, I would say if you like have certain waters that come from your body, not your urine, but like your spit or something that's going into the earth. Well, that food's growing with the properties to help your body heal itself. And so when you're eating that food, it's alive. It understands who you are, what you are, and it's grew through whatever you put in that dirt. It still grew and maintained a positive fruit. But that fruit's gonna do the same thing for your body, and that's one of the things that we don't have the science of because we're moved away from the soil, and don't realize that um, there's a symbiotic exchange of energy that takes place with live energy. Like you can go to a room with somebody who's having a bad day, and they can go in there and effectively infect the whole room with negative energy. Or a person come in with a beautiful, bright energy, and they'll come in and affect everybody with that energy. It's the same thing with our food. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a live entity affecting a live entity. There's no way we can ingest health. There's no way we can ingest You can't ingest sexuality. You know what I'm saying? You can't ingest something that make you a man. You can maybe have something that make a chemical change in your body, but it's gonna cause problems. Then you have to have a whole nother science to support that life that you are trying to live. That's why, you know, I saw this thing the other day, bro, that there's a food that is designed for it's designed to help individuals who have alternative sex. It's designed for that, and these companies are advertising for that to say that this food is designed for that to keep your pathway clean. So now you're creating this whole new ecosystem to try to support going against nature. You know what I'm saying? About feeding certain foods and so if you so I'm thinking if you're living an alternative life, alternative foods are good for you because they're designed for a specific reason for the life that you're living. And I
Back,
can't
back
remember.
to purpose again, right?
Yeah, so you're going back to purpose. So if you don't know that live food is for live people, even in the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, it has it has genders. It has a male plant and a female plant. The male plant don't says, well, I identify as a woman today. Plants don't do that. A male bird don't fly and be like, I'm gonna lay eggs today. The rooster don't say, well, I feel like I'm gonna lay eggs. I want to be a chicken now. I don't want to be a rooster. There's no way that that can happen. So that's an intellectual thing right there. And so that's going back to your purpose. What is fueling that purpose for you to be that way? Are you really, and then if you are you really well, are you connected with your life force truly to make that? You know what I'm saying? Because there is no life in that. At the end result is that we deal with results. We deal with outcome. The outcome of living that life is death. We all die, but uh, we know that if you're living with like if we are living within the realm of nature, I've never seen grass die. It goes away and comes back every year. It has a season. These trees, they don't die. They drop seeds. Those seeds plant other trees. Birds eat the fruit off the seeds and plant other trees in other places. And it's perpetual. It keeps going on and on and on. But if you
Yeah.
take that
That,
process out, all grass would die. If there was no male female aspect to life, there would be no life anywhere. And you can argue this. We can argue this all day, but it just be intellectuals arguing who's going to win with their argument to support the life. Well, you can do what you want to do. Well, you got to also deal with the consequences and the outcome and results of your choices. And so you can use a scientific method to mimic what nature already put out here for us, which that's your choice. And I'm not against anybody doing whatever they want to do. Have fun, kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Knock yourself out. But um, for those of us who choose to stay natural, if we choose to stay natural and stay on purpose, you can accept us like you want us to accept you, getting off of what we call our natural purpose. You know what I'm saying?
kinda. I feel it and I follow it. It's like, but I also kind of think at this point where we at, we kind of like gotta have zero tolerance for certain things until we get back, to our rightful purpose. You know what I mean? And that level of integrity is brought back up.
I agree. I
You know,
agree.
because I think it's too much of that. You know, well, whatever goes on behind closed doors is your business. But yeah, like okay, if they behind closed doors creating things that's gonna slow humanity down, and we know we can go in almost any direction with an example that will slow humanity down. But then how many examples can we express to help speed humanity up? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So like,
Tech chimed
balance,
in.
the balance is not there. What'd you say?
Cut Tech chimed in.
That's what's up, my bro. I need to go see my G. But yeah, I think we gotta at first get back, get back. You know, get back in control of our wills. You know, get back on our square of purpose. You know, raise our integrity. Once we get those things, like you said, become good stewards again to our land. Right now, we're not good stewards to our land. And so things have run them up. And I think a lot of that is due to that kind of the attitude of, hey, I got to work on me. I got to work on mine. I can't worry about what's going on behind it. Yeah, until it's your daughter or your son that's over there getting abused some kind of way. Now you see what I mean? So it's like I can to a certain extent say, okay, yeah, what you do is your business. But then I still got to kind of be like, hold on, what type of business are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, are you in the business of holding humanity back? Because like I said, I can almost think of a million ways to, use an example of what's holding humanity back. But then can I turn around with the same breath and express that many examples that's going to give humanity a boost? And so I choose to really give a negative example, just the fact that it's going to hold humanity back.
Right. I mean, let's look at this too. I mean, I kind of agree with you, bro. There should be no nonsense. No nonsense because, to be honest with you, the movement that's happening right now is no nonsense. This is what they want. So, we have to want what we want. We have to have no room because if it's integrity, as we said, the definition is wholeness. You know what I'm saying? So we can't have nothing come in between that. But at the same time, I'm not in opposition. Like I'm not. Let me say it this way: the choices that I made, the choices that I will make may cause friction with your ability to try to force what you want on me. But if you live your life and I live my life, we're just gonna be the best we can be. But when you get to the point where you want to try to tell me how to live and how to be, there's going to be some friction, and out of that friction, there's going to be some new situations created. Hopefully for the best on both sides. But I'm only focusing on my side. Because mine is I can't, no matter how much you want, you can't change it. If you leave something alone long enough, it'll auto correct in nature. If you leave something alone in nature long enough, it'll auto correct. And I also know that's about like in my backyard when I plant food. Last 1 year they told me not to they told me not to plant. They told me not to plant my. They told me to dig up my garden and plant new soil, put new soil down in my garden. Don't allow it to grow up again next year. And I didn't. Some parts of it, I didn't. Most of it, I didn't. I didn't plant. I didn't change the soil. I just added a little new soil to it and put the tossed it around. Do you know that stuff grew right back in that same spot? Eggplants, tomatoes grew right back in the same spot. And I was like, oh man, so what they do is they tell you not to do that because you're increasing the strength of that seed in that place. And if you add new ingredients to it, you're just increasing it and making it stronger. And so that's what I realized. You can't believe what somebody tell you. You got to add that friction, which I'm calling it friction now. You got to bang heads to go against the grain because people gonna tell you what they want to tell you so they can make money off of it. They make money off of our ignorance. It's monetized. But
yeah, they do. They make
what I'm saying?
Hardcore.
Yeah. So yeah, man. That's why I really appreciate this bill, bro. Because we really need to focus on our responsibilities, our purpose, and our integrity. We using those three right there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be some different men. And being that different man, we attract different women, and those men and women get together, then they'll have different babies, and those babies will be a different community, So I'm for that 100%, and yeah, I want to continue these bills because I'm noticing that they have a string theory to them, bro. They all connected. It all goes back to the one. We are the one. You know, we can talk about all the problems in our community, but if our quality is poor as men, then we can only expect the seed that comes from us to be poor and going in. You're only going to attract the women that are poor, and they're
Yeah.
going to have, you know, you ain't going to be a trash dude and attract a good girl and not corrupt her. Evil corrupts good all the time. Good don't corrupt evil. You know, so
Yeah, I'm a little preoccupied. My hands is wrapped up. I'm gonna have
what's
to
up?
figure out how to shoot that link to my laptop. It'd probably be a little bit more secure
If you just open up your email from you can open up your email, it'll pop up from there.
on my laptop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check into it.
Did you have to download StreamYard?
I gotta download that to my laptop.
You shouldn't. If you didn't have to download it to your phone, you shouldn't have to.
No, I didn't have to.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to because you're just you're not hosting it. You're just a guest.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I got to get up in the morning and head out on the flight to back up to Florida, man.
What part?
I'm gonna go pick up Makai and Amina.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're supposed to be driving back, right?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a and I'll be having. I have to not eat because as soon as I eat, I just get immediately the itis after every time I eat something. I don't care what it is, man. I have to, for like a 30 minute, like, I'll be hurt up for 30 minutes.
I'm wondering what happened.
There you go.
Still there?
Yeah, yeah. I know I'm hungry as hell though. That's what see that go my issue right there. I'm hungry. It's 12, 11 at night.
Ready to focus on
Mhm.
food.
Yeah, yeah. But I've been eating a lot of fruit at night. That way, that don't hurt my stomach. That kind of make me feel good when I wake up.
Yeah, see, that's what you need.
Drink some water. I've been drinking that tonic, man. That tonic be having me.
Right.
I took a couple of weeks off, and I definitely felt the whole little like my body was like, mm-mm.
Right.
You need that. As long as we live in this environment with all these EMF around us, we need.
Hold on, bro. All right. Hold on one more time. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm back in effect. Yeah, man. It's interesting how we can easily move throughout life and just not trip off of nothing that we eating, history, none of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, bang, now you got to take time out from everything to pick up pieces, try to piece it together,
Yep.
to make yourself whole as you can, anyway,
Yes, sir.
and not have a clue still. Because,
Hmm.
it took me going through my little bit of situation to figure out about me, you know what I mean? To just take the step back and see what's happening with me on the micro, you
Right.
know? And man, that walk it's been rewarding, and it's been a lot of aha moments like, whoa, I did not know this about myself, you know?
Right.
Now let's look at how it ties into everything that we doing. You know, just
Yep.
knowing about the 11 systems of the body, you know, you can see you can see it in everything we do. Work, competition, love, like it's all, you know, going through us at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you take the time out to look at, okay, where am I reverberating at? So look at the type of music you like. If you're doing the bass and the low end theory all the time, then we know you're on a low vibration, in which that's where they're trying to keep us because you're easily distracted down there. And you're more so concerned with everything outside of yourself versus what's happening within yourself. Like how good you look, you know, what someone's perception of you is, what type of woman you seeing yourself with, all of these different things that don't amount to much. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
truth is all about how your levels, how you doing, how you moving day to day to optimize these 11 systems within your body, within your anatomy.
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying? That's where the rubber meets the road at. If you ain't doing nothing to optimize that, then your purpose is out of whack. Your
Yep.
response, your responsibility level is low. Your accountability is low. Like, man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Your fear factor is out of whack because, you know, man, I ain't scared of nothing. Yeah, the things that you should be scared of, you don't even know about.
Right.
You can't even hold a conversation with me about the things you should be scared of because you ain't scared of nothing.
Right. Right.
That's a shame. We in a bad way. You know, once again, that's why I say we need that friction. The elders got to go out here and get on these youngsters' heads to a certain degree
Mm-hmm.
because we shouldn't be at war with each other. You know what I mean? We should be embracing one another. You know what I mean? To help push this humanity to the next phase. You know what I mean? We got to evolve and
You
become
know,
better.
some I just thought of if our community, if our bodies, if the cells in our body are at war like the community is, are acted like the community acts, it's no wonder why we are sick.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? If our bodies react the way we, if our the cellular world of our bodies react the way our community reacts to one another, it would be no, you know, it's no wonder why we're sick and hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what we're attracted to right now. We're attracted to death and not life. You know, we focused on death and not life. We focus on acid, not alkaline. You know, because we love everything pop, sugar. I mean, everything that's acid
Mm-hmm.
to,
Mm-hmm.
to be on. So it's like, yeah, it's why it's so easy for us to be distracted and, you know, disrupt our focus and get us off kilter. It's easy because we can't even stay. What is it called when you can't focus on shit? ADHD.
Yeah.
Everybody that shit. They
We
don't
don't
really.
have now
They fun-
imagine.
they function in ADHDs.
Yeah. And imagine if our bodies were in a perfect homeostasis and our community mimicked that. What would it look like? A healthy body in a healthy community. You know,
Yeah,
the people in the community act like the cells in a healthy body. You know what I'm saying? That would be
that would
next
be the.
level.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, but
like one of our mantras, right?
yeah,
Trying to
but
make many the few and the few the one.
mm-hmm.
Wow, we
All
are.
on the same page. It's gonna be hard though. Like if we, you know, if we, I don't think it's our job to get. I don't think it's our job to actively to do what like do stuff like that. Bring everybody to the same page, and this is why because you know before us there we before we were born they had like leaders in our community who implanted those leaders. So that the leader in the community means you have a childlike, you have sheep, childlike people who need to be educated towards something instead of each one teach one. and then you eliminate the leader because the leader will be the one in your family. You know, we took the leader out of the home and put him on the soapbox or the pulpit. You know, or you know, the leader is outside of excuse me, outside of self. It's somewhere else. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, this idea versus everyone being a leader.
Yeah, everyone has to lead their. Every man has to lead his own family. Versus, reason why we don't go to church. I'm not trying to be led by no guy who turns out to have worse uh, attributes than I would have towards being evil. But he's supposed to lead me to what? You know, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Uh,
When you take that look back, once again, you led everybody. You won that. You won it. Remember at the beginning we talked about conception. You
mhm.
had what it was needed at the time to be number one, to be on time, to be whatever it
Right at
was
that moment. Yep.
at that moment. So you was the leader, being. So
Yep.
why outside of yourself for what's already within you, like, right?
Hmm.
So it's like you said earlier. Sometimes we just have to be reminded of the way that we lost. You know what I mean? To get back on track, to realize the leader that's within us. But you know, ultimately, when we begin that humanity push, and everybody's coming along, you know what I'm saying, and the many become few, and the few become one. That's basically what happened. Everybody recaptured their own leader within them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because to be a good leader means you know when to follow. You know what I'm saying? There's many attributes to a good leader. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think a good leader is somebody who just do a man or a woman of integrity that is the model that lives in their purpose. They what do you call that? Like when you they become the model like without even trying. They become the leader without even trying. They become the
Just
way.
by being a good steward. Yes.
You know, that's the way to go. And they're not living the life to lead you. They just do what is necessary to live by purpose. And that action alone is the model for how we should be. And that's what you follow that model. You know what I'm saying? Because if
Yeah.
anybody can do that and then become a leader of the person who sees them doing it. You understand what I'm saying? So no one person can be what we all are designed to be. If we all out here made it, we all can become that leader for someone that's watching you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's not like, I don't want to be the leader of people. I may do something that you or anybody may see and be like, yo, I'm going to try that. Then you do it. Then somebody see you doing it and be like, hey, man, I want to try that. They're not going to know that I'm the one that you got it from. They just going to know that they saw you doing it. So then you effectively be what I am. And I effectively be what I seen somebody else be, you know. So that takes us back to, humans don't create. They
We
mimic.
say, yeah.
We imitate, we mimic, but we don't create. That's something that always came before us. And nature is where we get most of our imitation from. You know,
Exactly.
other humans, I don't like to say humans, I like to say other people are nature. You got the insect people, nature. You got the ant people, the bee people, you got the fish people, and this is giving everything in life something that we can copy from. We can copy from simple things in nature, and that's also the animal kingdom. You know, so that's nature. You can learn from another human. That's nature. That's the perfect model. Nature. That's the leader of all of us. You know.
Definitely.
Yep.
Emulate that.
Hmm.
It's like martial arts. It's a form of emulating a bunch of different animals. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's also a form of paying attention to breath and breathing
Hmm.
and and seeing how the wind blows and taking that into account to how you tie into that. You know what I mean? You just like the wind in certain aspects.
Hmm.
Move things and the way you breathe and activate on the breath of life itself. You know what I mean? And able to have ideas just by wind blowing across your face and your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's all ties in. But we so far outside of ourselves, we don't choose to look for none of those connections. You know, we numb. You know, the different foods we eat keep us from, you know, being back vital and, you know, vibrant
Yep.
and all these
Yep.
different things that's in nature. You know, so
Yep. That's real. That's real, bro. But hey, man, we've been on here for like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm getting sleepy. I gotta get ready for tomorrow.
word. Yeah, it was a quick little build too. You know, and it's just off some not even real. Just us going in on something.
Yeah. We just, call me, talk to me. What's up? Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had a few people jump on and check us out. They didn't stay long, but that's okay.
That's good.
What we're gonna do is though, we're gonna keep it building, keep it going, bro. You know, when you can make it, you can make it. If you come up with other topics, bring them in. You know how we do. We talk about it and come on the air and speak on it. You know what I'm saying? Leave it there for somebody else to pick up.
This is the whole process of getting back. You know, good building with you, brother.
No doubt, man.
Straight up. We shall do it again.
Yes, sir. Yeah, peace.
Get it in.
Get it,